The expected showdown of 3 pro runabout world champions competing head-to-head in round 1 of the APBA National Watercross Tour never quite materialized, as all 3 of the top riders would struggle at one time or another with a host of issues.
Now Balding's down. He's down on the front stretch.
The coupler for the drive shaft started going out, so it started vibrating so bad, and I didn't know if it was that or something else, so I just kind of babied it.
We have a little electric problem, man. The boat cut out for a second, then started back up, so I'm not really sure what happened.
And with the 3 world champion pro runabout riders struggling to find consistency, that would allow the up-and-coming Eric Francis to emerge as the overall winner for round number 1 with a pair of second-place finishes.
It's nice to start this year in the lead. Good confidence with the booster, getting some confidence going in round 2.
And the struggles for the top riders in pro runabout wouldn't be unique, as last year's top GP ski rider, Rick Shirker, would find the going tough, allowing for first-time GP ski competitor Jeff Wright to capture the overall.
It's a really good feeling to come out here and beat the top guys like Rob Flores, Rick Shirker, Trogner. Those guys are real fast.
So with a round of racing under everyone's belts and all of the necessary repairs made in between rounds, might round 2 offer up the epic duels that fans and racers alike are hoping to see.
A lot of young guys are fast, but maybe I'll get a good start and show them how it's done.
And coming up next, it's round number 2 of the APBA National Watercross Tour from the mighty Colorado River in Parker, Arizona. To the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona for round number 2 of the APBA National Watercross Tour. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Parker, Arizona. Alongside Dave Arnold, I'm Ian Howard. Thanks for joining us once again for this round 2 showdown along the Colorado River. And Dave, first starting with GP Ski, the guys have had a chance to get on the water, work out the kinks. Some of them are sore coming into this one, but in particular, it was one racer yesterday who surprised many people, a guy who virtually came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Jeff Wright, he was really quiet. He was very unassuming last year and this year. Didn't see, he was 3rd in high points last year. This year, he surprised us all.
Yeah, Jeff Wright, one to watch. And then on the runabout side, Dave, we build it as a race of world champions, 3 of them on the line. But again, it was a guy last year who went about his business quietly. That and Eric Francis, who I think surprised a lot of guys.
Well, Eric Francis, I talked about him last year quite a bit. He was one to watch. He was an up-and-comer. This year he came back and he upset quite a few world champions.
Should be exciting. Anything can happen here along the Colorado River. It's round 2 right here from Parker, Arizona. And time now for GP Ski as we take a look at the class specs. It's the biggest and fastest of all the stand-up ski divisions. 2- and 4-stroke engines allowed up to 1,100 cc's. And what makes this class interesting, any hull and engine configuration is allowed. You'll see speeds in excess of 65 miles per hour. Highlights from the first of 2 motos for GP Ski. Last year's points champion Rick Shirker would jump out to the lead in this 11-vote field. Round 1 overall winner Jeff Wright of Eldora, Kansas would run second, with the 52-year-old Fountain of Youth racer Kevin Minix of Dallas, Texas back in 3rd position. And Rick Shirker would go the distance for the moto win, his 2nd of the young season. So is Shirker, Wright, and Minix your top 3 finishers. And here's Rick Shirker, your Moto 1 winner.
I'm still playing around, actually running a different motor than I was last year, still a 951, just a little different setup. Just playing around with it, and which is nice with the GP class. It lets you play around, try new things.
And when we come back to Parker, Arizona, we'll have Moto 2 of GP Ski, so stay with us right here from Parker, Arizona. Coverage of the APBA National Watercross Tour from Parker, Arizona has been made possible by the Blue Water Resort and Casino of Parker, Arizona, by Yamaha, by HydroTurf, by Sea-Doo, by Monster Energy Drinks, and by Bud Light. Welcome back to Parker, Arizona, and coverage of round number 2 of the APBA National Watercross Tour. So we're in between GP Ski motos, and before we get underway with moto number 2, let's visit now with Rob Flores for this HydroTurf Tech Tip.
Here we are talking about the Pro Ski GP class again. Back in the old days, when we were racing open and stock class, we were hitting speeds of mid-50s, you know, barely approaching 60. Now we're in the mid-60s, and the potential to go faster than that is there. And as a rider, we've had to make some pretty good changes. You've got to change your handling of the equipment because you're dealing with way more horsepower, way more speed. Your riding style has to change in order to ride the thing, and your riding technique. And the best analogy I can give you is for people that ride motocross is before we were riding 125s. You're wringing the thing's neck, you're trying to keep it on the pipe. These things are more like riding a 500 open bike. Added power, added torque, you're definitely more throttle control, and rider position is way more critical. And of course, you got to start training more, going way faster.
Time now for Moto 2 for GP Ski. Rick Shirker going for back-to-back wins and the overall here in round number 2. But Jeff Wright's been very consistent, Dave. He won the championship for round 1 and finished right behind Rick Shirker in the opening moto. So you figure those two are the odds-on favorites to win the overall here for round number 2. Heavy winds, rough water, greeting all the competitors as they battle for a hole shot along the back stretch, and you can see how rough it is there, Dave. And Rick Cantola will emerge after finishing 6th in Moto number 1. So Cantola back after a long racing hiatus. Unexpectedly, the early leader here in Moto number 2, Dave.
Yeah, it's really good to see Rick out there. He's throwing one of those old school leg drags. Victor Shelton, the slasher, used to do that. Rob Flores is known for that. But, you know, these newer boats, you don't necessarily have to do that. But he is riding a Yamaha out there. Might be, behoove him to do it. Rusty Wilson going down on the lone hydrospace out there. Not so much a ski you're seeing in the GP class out here on the American Tour. But, hey, it's great to see Cantola getting that hole shot. And looks like he's got some people going to be chomping at the bits to get at him. I'm sure Rick Shirker is looking for an overall. He definitely wants to chase a national title again, so I know he's going to try and say something about it.
And the key for Cantola, we talk about conditioning, Dave. For Rick Cantola, the question is, after such a long racing hiatus, how long will his legs and his arms stay with him before giving out? Look at Rob Flores, another veteran competitor, right behind him. Then we have a drag race down the front stretch between the veteran Jeff Trogner, the 70 boat of Stephen LePron battling for that third spot. But Dave, talking about the two veterans up front, not a lot of racing in the past year by either Cantola or Rob Flores.
Well, it's got to feel good for him, but you know what? Now the pressure's on. You know, can they remember what it's like to be out front again and ride with all these names behind him? You know, Rob Flores, Jeff Trogner. Interesting enough, you know, Flores, he's out there what we like to call Skizilla. He's got 1100cc crammed in that machine, and it looks like it's just keeping that thing hooked up in the water's got to be hard.
And along the back stretch, Rob Flores able to get past the leader, Rick Cantola. So Flores now your leader. And earlier he talked to us about trying to get back in shape under the duress of competing here in Parker, Arizona.
I'm nowhere near race form at all. Yesterday was the first time I actually was on buoys since the national championship in Nashville in August. So I think every moto I'm going to get better and better. I think all the rest of these guys, they've been riding, and you know, nothing to take away from them, but I think they're as good as they're going to get, and I'm just going to keep better every moto. So they give me crap, you know, they clown me. They were clowning me yesterday when I was 5th the first moto, so then I got 3rd the second moto. So it's going to get better and better.
So Flores admittedly out of shape, Dave, and you figure Cantola, he was only going to be good for a quick burst here in the racing here this weekend. So Cantola finally, you figure some arm pump setting in, the legs are getting fatigued. He was good for about 3 or 4 laps. But Flores, what a surprise here, Dave. 22 years of racing, kind of like getting on the bike once again, but you figured he would also be suffering from arm pump and maybe some leg fatigue, but he only looks to be getting stronger as the racing wears on.
Well, I think, you know, with Rob riding this weekend, it's helped him out a little bit. You know, he struggled yesterday, struggled in Moto number 1 a little bit, but now maybe he's settled into it. He's, worked some of the bugs out of his ski. I tell you, that thing is fast and it sounds mean.
And Rob Flores going with the all Kawasaki. Remember, in GP ski racing, you can use any hull with any engine configuration, so you have a lot of mix and matches. But with Flores, he chooses to go with the Kawasaki hull and the 1100 Kawasaki engine package. He was taking a lot of grief along the beach, Dave, admittedly so, saying, hey, you're never going to be able to rein that thing in on the race course.
Well, you know, it's about getting the right size pump and impeller to get that horsepower to translate to the water. And, you know, that's been a struggle with them, and it looks like in these conditions it's helped.
So we've reached the halfway point for Moto number 2 for GP Ski. Rob Flores going for the Moto win. Can he hang on? We'll have more right after this.